5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now with me, Ankita Saxena, and with me is Harsh Saita. Harsh, what a visual. Every Indian was glued to the television sets yesterday and we have created history.
Absolutely, Ankita. And how? I mean, Interstellar had a budget of 1,000 crore, 1,050
That's
odd crore.
correct.
And we did the moon landing at 40% a lower
lower
cost.
budget, yeah.
That is just incredible, right? So 23rd August 2023 will be etched on each and every Indian's memory for decades ahead, because India's clearly created history. The moment Chandrayaan 3 landed or soft landed was 6:04 p.m. yesterday, and in fact it was indeed a textbook landing for India's ambitious lunar expedition, as Chandrayaan 3 successfully lands on the moon's south pole. India is now the only country to ever land on the South Pole. Of course, the South Pole is crucial also, Ankita, because it has traces of water, and that will really be the key as to whether space in itself has other viable options to actually live in. And this could be that inflection point as well. So, of course, supremely proud to be Indian and congratulating all the Isro scientists. Prime Minister Modi also said that the achievement will change all the narratives and stories about the moon. In fact, congratulations are now pouring in from all over the globe as well, as India makes her mark on the moon. Let's listen in to some of those reactions.
जब हम अपनी आंखों के सामने ऐसा इतिहास बनते हुए देखते हैं तो जीवन धन्य हो जाता है। ऐसी ऐतिहासिक घटनाएं राष्ट्र जीवन की चिरंजीव चेतना बन जाती है। ये पल अविस्मरणीय है। ये क्षण अभूतपूर्व है। ये क्षण विकसित भारत के शंखनाद का है। ये क्षण नए भारत के जयघोष का है। ये क्षण मुश्किलों के महासागर को पार करने का है।
I think it's all clear to you. I don't have to tell. See, when it is such a tough journey for going to moon and landing, soft landing, which is very difficult for any nation to achieve today, even with the advancement of technology, and we achieving it in just two missions. The first mission had a narrow miss, and now we achieved it so perfectly. It gives confidence to configure missions to not only going to moon, going to Mars, sometimes land on the Mars, maybe in the future going to Venus and other planets, and also sometimes go beyond asteroids and others. We should think about it. I think you should all support us to plan such missions with a very, very cost-effective mission. Nobody in the world can ever do like this what we do, and nobody will be able to succeed maybe in the minimum most attempts. So I request each one of your support, encouragement. The whole of the nation should be behind us to do this. I think it's all clear to you. I don't have to tell. See, when it is such a tough journey for going to moon and landing, soft landing, which is very difficult for any nation to achieve today, even with the advancement of technology, and we achieving it in just two missions. The first mission had a narrow miss, and now we achieved it so perfectly. It gives confidence to configure missions to not only going to moon, going to Mars, sometimes land on the Mars, maybe in the future going to Venus and other planets, and also sometimes go beyond asteroids and others. We should think about it. I think you should all support us to plan such missions with a very, very cost-effective mission. Nobody in the world can ever do like this what we do, and nobody will be able to succeed maybe in the minimum most attempts. So I request each one of your support, encouragement. The whole of the nation should be behind us to do this.
This success is a sweet news for us, and not only for us, but for the entire nation. The nation is waiting for this moment, and now it has happened successfully. I'm extremely happy that it's happened successfully, and I would say that congratulations to the whole Indian people for the wonderful success of this Chandrayaan 3 mission.
Right. Of course, that was the former chairman of Isro, Ankita, in 2019. That was the Indian mission that failed.
That's
and
correct.
This reminds me also of the very famous Abdul Kalam quote. Man needs his difficulties to really enjoy his successes. And this is that moment for Isro. They do it at minimal cost. And they really deserve the success, and they're making all of us extremely proud. So it is our duty to support them, and of course this is your time, Isro, to enjoy that success. But we'll switch over now. It's time to start looking at markets. Let's look at where global markets are really placed. Ankita is going to take us through all that's happening in global markets.
But with that also, Harsh, the narrative has now changed for all the kids growing up. Now Chanda Mama is no more dur ke, as PM Modi mentioned. So the nursery rhyme will have to change now. And well, it doesn't end here for ISRO. Aditya L1 is set to be India's first space-based mission to study the moon. Set to launch on 26th of August, the satellite will be placed in the halo orbit around the Lagrange point of the Sun-Earth system. And well, we'll move on then, and we'll take a look at how the US markets moved last night, and stocks ended higher at Wall Street. Awaits the largest quarterly figures from NVIDIA, another high-flying chip maker that's been bolstered by the artificial intelligence craze on the Wall Street. A decline in yields has also been aiding the markets. Now, we did see the yields inching up, but yesterday we did see the yields cooling off, and that boosted the sentiments on Wall Street. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed 184 points higher. The S&P 500 gained 1%, its best daily performance since June 30th. And Nasdaq Composite climbed 1.6%, making for 3 straight days of gains. Now, NVIDIA is slated to report second quarter earnings after the bell. Analysts polled by Refinitiv are expecting the company to report a sharp year-on-year spike in their profits and revenues. Now, NVIDIA is the best performing S&P 500 stock of 2023. It is up more than 200%, so everybody is waiting and watching for NVIDIA's results to come out. Now, back in Europe also, it took a cue from the Wall Street, ended the day in the green. Stock 600 index ended up 0.4%, with most of the sectors and major bourses in the positive territory. Utility stocks led the gains, up 1%, as oil and gas stocks fell 1%. Now, auto stocks ended this session down around 0.5% after the release of a very grim PMI figure from Germany, which showed a deepening downturn in manufacturing output and plunge in the business activity. Now, the euro was also lower against the US dollars, and the bonds also rallied as PMIs Eurozone PMI also came in well below the expectations, for whatever the street was penciling in for the Eurozone as well. Now, that is on the back of service activity falling into decline. So that was largely the roundup of the global markets. Harsh, positive both Wall Street and the European markets.
Right, positive on Wall Street, and Europe definitely looks a hint of green on is what the Gift Nifty is currently indicating, just about 8 points higher, absolutely flat though. So let's quickly move on. Let's look at what crude is up to, and crude has been under some bit of pressure, and it continues to edge lower. It's now firmly below that $80 a barrel mark, talking about the WTI, and you're looking at Brent, which is roughly at $82.5 a barrel. So you're seeing a little bit of a withdrawal, and this is despite the fact that you're seeing US inventory declines, which are more than what was anticipated. So you're seeing the gasoline stocks climb by 1.5 million barrels last week, compared to analyst estimates of around 900,000 barrel drop. But you're seeing US crude inventories fell 6.1 million barrels. And that is, of course, week ended 18th of August. Of course, analysts had estimated that number to be below 3 million barrels. So clearly that drop is higher, and despite that, you're seeing some pressure on crude as well. So crude slipping up, Ankita, that's essentially in focus as well.
Alright then, we'll go across and look at the other things that will be in focus today in today's trading session. Back home, first up in corporate action, we have eMudra that will be considering a proposal for fundraise. It is also the last day to be eligible for a buyback for India Mart and Piramal Enterprises. And on the IPO front, we have Vishnu Prakash R. Pungalia that will be opening up for subscription today, and it will go on till the 28th of August. And we have Bharti Airtel, which will be holding its AGM as of today. So these are the events that we will be tracking very closely.
Right, and quickly on to NVIDIA's earnings. Let's bring the spotlight back to stock-specific action. Chip giant NVIDIA shares surged 6% in after hours trade after delivering a splendid Q2. Not just that, they've also issued an optimistic third quarter guidance suggesting a whopping 170% surge in sales. The company raked in a little over $13 billion in revenues, largely led by an unprecedented demand for its AI chips.
Nike shares stumbled for the 10th straight day amid a slowdown in the footwear sector coupled with China's uneven recovery. Shares of the sneaker giant declined nearly 3% after its wholesale partner Foot Locker posted yet another quarter of losses, while also lowering its guidance. The current losing streak is the longest in the company's history since its listing back in 1980.
Right, and sticking to stock-specific action, auto giant General Motors announced layoffs. The company is set to eliminate as many as 900 employees. Alongside, the company has also announced the closure of its IT Innovation Center in Arizona over the next couple of months.
And shifting focus to some geopolitical news coming in this morning, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the leader of a Wagner mercenary group which led an unsuccessful coup against Russia's President Vladimir Putin, has been reportedly killed in a plane crash. Now, all 10 people on board the flight said to be dead, according to the Russian authorities.
Right, and Isro is not the only one making us proud. Chess Grandmaster Pragnanda held his ground against world number one Magnus Carlsen in a gripping showdown at the FIDE World Cup final. He's forced a draw in the second classical game of the series. Both games have ended a draw now. The encounter saw both players engage in a strategic duel, resulting in a balanced position that led to a peaceful draw after just 30 moves. Champion will be decided today at the tiebreakers.
And well, it's time for us to slip into a short break. But before that, let's shift gear. When in Pune, we just had to try one of the most famous missiles, and to that, Bedekar missile was a must try. Now, their missile is so popular that a small restaurant in one of the by lanes of Chandrayaan in Pune is always packed with locals queuing up from early hours of the day. What makes them so special? My colleague Patricia Ho filed this report earlier.
You can't come to Pune and not try one of the most popular missile places. Bedekar Missile has something for everyone. Tangy, sweet, spicy. It's going to be an explosion of flavors. So let's dig in. What we have in front of us is their famous misal pav. And just tell me, Aditya, what is so famous about it and why is it so popular?
So basically, this is a generational business coming down through a journey of 75 years.
Okay.
That is something that the customers have, shown their love towards our product. It's a mixture of flavors. There's sweet, there's tangy, there's spicy. So it's not just focused on one flavor.
Okay.
And the recipe goes down to the traditional dal that is prepared in a house.
Okay.
So the ingredients are similar to what that are of the dal. So that is why the customers connect to it more.
And what makes your misal special? Because
As I mentioned before, the flavor of the gravy, that is the main USP of our misal. It has a sweet note initially because of the presence of jaggery in the gravy. But once you start eating it, then you get the spicy aftertaste. So by the time you're done, that is when you've enjoyed all the flavors. You don't start with a spicy note. Otherwise, if you start spicy, then you're not able to enjoy the rest of the misal.
okay, and I think what you said is absolutely right. It has so many flavors that I mean, it's sweet, it's a bit spicy. It's not too spicy, but yeah, it's working well, and then it's crispy because of all the chura. So do you make the bread also in-house?
Initially, we used to, but now because of more demand, we've outsourced it.
So this is what? Medium spicy, less spicy?
This is the medium spicy version.
Oh.
I think you should try some sol curry also.
Thank you.
The benefit of having the sol curry with the misal is that it's a very good digestive.
Yeah.
The fruit that is used in making the sol curry, the kokum fruit, it's a very good digestive. That is why it goes very well with the misal.
Yeah.
Once it goes into your tummy, it just mellows the spice levels. So it doesn't
cools
trouble you.
down your stomach. Okay. And it helps the misal go down
That's
faster,
right.
easier. So I understand why this misal is so popular here, by the way.
So would you like me to add some more spice?
I wouldn't mind. I can eat a lot of spice.
Sure.
So thank you so much. This has been so great, and this misal has been lovely. Absolutely, like an explosion of flavors in my mouth. So after this, we are going to go to Maratha Samrat for a very scrumptious lunch, a proper Maharashtrian delight.
Right, welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe on ET Now. I'm going to quickly take you through what Asian markets are up to in early trade. You're seeing the Kospi, which is up around 0.4%. The South Korean market largely in focus because you have the central bank rate decision coming in today. Also, the Indonesian market will also be in focus because of that. Let's quickly move on to the Nikkei, which is up around 0.1% or thereabouts. So you're seeing gains across Asian indices, and that's largely due to positive handover, positive global cues coming through as well. So you're seeing the Nikkei, which is up now almost 0.5% or thereabouts. You're seeing the SX 200 also in the green. You're seeing the Australian index up by around 0.25% or thereabouts. You're seeing both the Chinese indices, the Hang Seng as well as the Shanghai, both are in the green. The Shanghai up just about 0.1%, and you're seeing the Hang Seng, which is up around 0.75%. The GIFT Nifty also indicating a slight positive bias. Of course, have to wait and watch how it plays out. We've had a couple of mixed days of trade. We had a very choppy day of trade day before yesterday, and yesterday was largely flattish, where we ended very close to the top. So definitely a very interesting day of trade ahead of us. Ankita.
That's correct, Harsh. An interesting day of trade ahead.
Right, so in case you've missed out, we've had a positive handover from global markets. We are seeing Asian markets in the green as well. And let's move on to some stock-specific action. The Qatar Investment Authority is investing more than 8,200 crore rupees into RIL's Reliance Retail Ventures for a stake of almost 1%. This marks the fund's second investment in the company. Samit is here to get us the details and break them down for us. Samit.
Well, Reliance Industries manages to get in another investor in its most valued segment, that is the retail arm. Now, Qatar Investment Authority will be putting in close to 8,270 crore rupees in Reliance Retail Ventures, that is the retail arm of Reliance Industries, for nearly 1% stake. Now, this values RRVL at close to 8.3 lakh crore rupees, that is nearly 100 billion US dollars. Now, this is the second round of investment that we are seeing in the retail arm of Reliance Industries. The first round of investment happened back in 2020 when Reliance Industries had raised close to 47,300 crore rupees from around 8 investors by divesting close to 10.1% stake. Now, the investors back then were Silver Lake, KKR, General Atlantic, Mubadala, GIC, TPG, ADAI and PIF. Now, in 2020, RRVL was valued at close to 63 billion US dollars, and currently its valuation has increased to around 100 billion US dollars. That's a rise of nearly 58% in dollar terms. So what has changed for RRVL in the last 3 years? Now, its store count has increased by nearly 42%. The store area, that is million square feet, has doubled since the last fundraise till now. The warehouse area has increased nearly 3 times, while the company's EBITDA has also largely doubled over the same time frame. And despite this expansion, if you see the company's ROC, that has remained largely stable at close to 50-odd%. Now, in the last 3 years, the company has also acquired more than 20 companies, ramped up its online presence via JioMart, and has also started its own FMCG brand, Independence. Now, how does this valuation of 100 billion stack up against what the brokerages were estimating? Well, it's largely at par. Now, if you see the average valuations of the foreign and domestic brokerages, that stood at close to 102 billion US dollars, while the company has done this fundraise at close to 100 billion US dollars. Also, if you consider the recent buyback that they had done in one of its retail subsidiary, the valuation seems to be pretty much in line with what brokerages and that buyback valuation were for the street. So not much of a surprise when it comes to valuation, but important and positive announcement coming in for retail, that is the fundraise done from QIA.
All right, so Amit, stay on because the promoter Baring PE will sell its entire stake in Coforge via block deals. The promoter will offload 16.3 million shares under the block deal. Now, what will the FTSE be the impact on FTSE? Have FTSE impact the stock? Somit is here with all the details. Take it away, Somit.
Well, Coforge will remain in focus because the promoter is looking to completely now exit from the company. Baring will be completely exiting from the company. They have put in around 16.3 million shares on the block. That is close to 26.6% stake. The floor price for this block is at 4,550, which is a discount of nearly 7.4% to yesterday's closing. Now, the total block size will be around 7,400 crore rupees. That is nearly 893 million US dollars. And IFL is the sole broker of this deal. Now, the promoter of this company has been continuously divesting its stake since 2020. In fact, in 2023, this will be the third and the last tranche of a promoter, as they will be completely exiting from the company. Now, this exit of the promoter should largely not impact the company, given the fact that the company is professionally managed and they have given a strong revenue growth guidance even for FY24. They're expecting their revenue to grow nearly 13 to 16%, and this is despite the cautious spending environment that we are seeing in the US market, especially coming in from the BFS segment in the US market, and they're also expecting their margins to remain largely stable. So don't expect much of an impact on Coforge's financial and running going forward. However, this block would keep some pressure on the stock prices, given that it's a 26% stake that is coming on the block. However, there's a positive side to this also. Now, given the fact that the promoter is exiting, the free float of Coforge in the FTSE index is expected to increase. Now, because of this increase in free float, the weightage will also increase, which could lead to an inflow of around 29 million US dollars as per Nuama, which is close to 1.5 times its 20-day average volume. So keep an eye out for Coforge.
Thanks so much for both of those stories, Somit. Definitely keeping our eyes on both Reliance as well as Coforge. Let's quickly move on. The RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das addresses inflation concerns. And despite challenges of high inflation, RBI Governor notes a steady easing of core inflation. He also anticipates a softening trend from September onwards, with the new tomato arrivals coming through, and that will of course aid the pricing of tomatoes in the market. Hopefully those prices should soften. Listen in to his views on that one.
The challenge of high inflation, however, still persists and has to be effectively addressed. Headline inflation has risen to 7.4% in July, driven by surge in tomato and other vegetable prices. The July print, which was released after the monetary policy meeting on 10th August, was on the higher side compared to the earlier estimates. The food group inflation more than doubled from 4.7% in June to 10.6% in July. Although core inflation is still elevated at 4.9%, this steady easing of core inflation over the last 5 months is indicative of the ongoing transmission of monetary policy. Looking ahead, the spike in vegetable prices in July is starting to see a correction led by tomato prices. New arrivals of tomatoes in mandis are already softening the prices, coupled with proactive supply management in the case of onions. We expect to see an appreciable slowdown in vegetable inflation from September.
And moving on, the government may increase financial outlay of PLI schemes in many sectors. ET Now has learnt from sources that the list includes drone and drone components. ACC batteries, bulk drug and textiles are amongst others. Let us go across to Prakash Priyadarshi for further details on this.
Yes, we are learning from our sources that the empowered group of secretary led by Cabinet Secretary has held an important meeting to review PLI scheme. We are given to understand that empowered group of secretary has made several recommendations which is with regard to existing PLI schemes and on proposal for a new PLI scheme. It has been decided to increase financial outlay for drone and drone component PLI scheme. Empowered Group of Secretary has accepted the proposal prepared by Ministry of Civil Aviation, and financial outlay could be increased to rupees 350 crore. DPIIT has been instructed to incorporate this proposal in consolidated cabinet note. Apart from that, Empowered Group of Secretary has also asked DPIIT to prepare proposal for additional allocation of funds for existing PLI scheme wherever it is required. Moving ahead, when it comes to a PLI scheme for ACC battery, it has been decided to invite a fresh bid for balance capacity in ACC battery PLI scheme, and concerned ministry has been instructed to come out with a new proposal. In addition to that, when it comes to PLI scheme for bulk drug, it has been decided to include new drug under existing PLI scheme. Apart from that, when it comes to textile sector, government has decided to launch yet another PLI scheme for textile sector in line with IT hardware. Sources are also saying that PLI scheme for some new sectors like footwear, leather, toys, bicycles. Proposal is already there under consideration, and empowered group of secretaries may discuss this proposal in its next meeting.
Right, thanks so much for that, Prakash. But it's that time of the show. We'll slip into a very short break and we'll start going stock specific, or we'll continue to remain stock specific, but take you through all the stocks that will be in focus and probably buzzing. So do stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Cafe, and it is that time of the show where we get to all the stocks that you need to keep on your radar for today's trading session. And for that, we have our colleague Ansh in the studio. Ansh, good morning to you. Tell us, what are the stocks that we need to watch out for?
Sure. Good morning. So NHPC will be the first stock in focus for today's trading session, as company has partnered with Andhra Pradesh Power Generation Corporation to develop pumped storage hydropower and renewable energy projects. Apart from this, Share India Securities will also be in focus, as Board of Directors have given green light to raise funds of around 200 crore by issuing debt securities. Paramount Communications will also be in focus, as company has approved acquiring around 1.9 lakh shares of Valence Technologies. Moving on to IRCTC, company has been fined by 5,36,000 each by both BSE and NSE due to non-compliance with necessary count of independent director, including independent woman director in its board. Lastly, Max Healthcare will be in focus, as company has appointed Ms. Amrita Gangotra as a non-executive independent director effective from 23rd August.
Right, all of those stocks in focus. Thanks so much for that, Ansh. But there are a couple of more stocks here. Bernstein has initiated coverage on Paytm with an outperform, and on SBI card, I beg your pardon, with an underperform. Vamakshi is here with the details on both of those.
Well, yes, we have SBI Card and Paytm in focus on the back of that brokerage note from Bernstein. And largely what they have highlighted is that the digital payments-led disruption in Indian payment space is currently in progress. UPI payments have almost single-handedly driven the surge in the cashless payments in India that we're seeing. In fact, the credit card spending so far has been immune, but nevertheless, Bernstein believes that SBI Card is expected to be on the wrong side of the disruption. So what they have highlighted is that the company is expected to face the direct impact of the rise of alternative digital credit offerings. In fact, they're expecting the earnings growth to decline sharply from 30% as seen in the last decade to nearly 15% in the next 5 years. They see no revival in the revolvers, and in fact they are expecting to see continued pressure on the fee margins. So given all these factors, Bernstein has initiated coverage on SBI cards with an underperform rating. Target price of 650 is what they have highlighted. While on the other hand, they believe that Paytm is on the right side of the disruption. They believe that the company's loan disbursement volume is expected to grow sharply, and in fact the company could achieve a market share of almost 4% by FY26. They believe that there will be some stabilization as far as margins are concerned in the payment segment, and they're expecting the business to break even by FY25. So given all these factors, Bernstein has initiated coverage on Paytm, but with an outperform rating. Target price of 1,100 per share is what they have given. So largely what Bernstein has highlighted is that SBI card is on the wrong side of the disruption, Paytm is on the right side of the disruption, and on the back of that, watch out for both these counters.
Thank you so much, Vamakshi. We will be watching out for SBI cards and Paytm in today's trading session. But moving on then, the government may extend SBI Chairman Dinesh Khara's tenure by around a year. ET Now has learned from sources that the decision is likely to be announced next month. However, the due process for selecting new chairman will continue. My colleague Ankur Mishra joins in for more details.
Yes, sources say that government is actively considering to extend the tenure of Dinesh Khara as SBI chairman for around a year. In fact, sources have informed us that this announcement is expected very soon, and the announcement can be made by next month itself. The tenure of Dinesh Khara as SBI chairman is ending on October 6 when he is completing his tenure as SBI chairman. Now, the government is considering for an extension up to August 2024, and this is as per State Bank of India rules of age criteria. Apart from that, Financial Services Institutions Bureau is also likely to continue its task of finding new chairman till the time government makes an official announcement of extending the tenure of Dinesh Khara. Now, under the chairmanship of Dinesh Khara, the bank has touched new heights. In fact, the profitability of the bank touched 16,888 crore in the last quarter itself, and the bank also posted 1% ROA under his chairmanship. Now, apart from Dinesh Khara, CS Sethi is considered the front runner for becoming the next SBI chairman, and FSIB is likely to continue the process of interviewing SBI MDs because till the time government makes an official announcement, that process will continue parallelly. Now we need to wait and see how soon an announcement of this kind is made by the government.
Well, thanks so much for that, Ankur. Also, we had Vikash Kumar Jain, who's the strategist at CLSA India, and he believes that valuations in IT are less attractive compared to banks, but they still prefer IT to banks. Let's listen in to his rationale.
IT and banks is clearly the two things that you need to get your calls right. Otherwise, it's very tough to outperform. Luckily, we've been a bit lucky in getting that call right over the last 2.5, 3 years. That's why our India focused portfolio has done pretty well. I would say I am still in the camp that the recent recovery that IT stocks have seen will have now again taken their valuations to levels which are not very attractive as compared to that. The other large sector, which is banks, is something where valuations are in general attractive compared to that sector. So within the two, I still prefer banks. For IT, I believe, it's just a long derating period, which started with early 2022. And just to kind of remind you, at that point of time when valuations went to +3 standard deviation to historical average, that was a point when everybody thought that this sector has changed forever after COVID because technology has become so important, etc., etc. And when something becomes so expensive one way, the derating period can also be, particularly when we have very good quality stocks, they don't really collapse in a matter of months. The derating period generally is longer, which involves correction of multiples. Yes, a few of them have become a little bit better in terms of valuation, but the sector in general, I think, is still not attractive from a simple valuations perspective.
And well, moving on, what are Bharat Forge's targets in the short, medium and long term? Well, in an exclusive chat to ET Now, the joint MD Amit Kalyani shares the growth roadmap ahead for the company, says a lot of new businesses will turn from incubation to growth mode. Listen in to what he had to say.
Short term, medium term and long term. For Bharat Forge, for short term, when I say short term, 1 to 3 years, that's a short term for an entrepreneur. 3 to 5 is medium term and 5 year plus is vision. So for the short term, what is the opportunity? What is the challenge?
For the short term, very clearly is turn around our global businesses, grow them, maximize the growth of our defense business, grow our acquired industrial businesses, continue growing our aerospace business with whatever capexes we already have done, and continue growing our component business. Okay, that should give us a 15% plus CAGR. That is what we expect. Sometimes it will be higher, sometimes it will be lower, but that's what we expect. Then for the 3 to 5 year, build the defense business into a whole meaningful business. A meaningful business means, going from 1,000 crores to 4,000-5,000 crores. Industrial from 2,500 to again 4,000-5,000 crores. Aerospace, hopefully take it to a 100 million plus business, and also EV to couple of 100 million, if not more. So that's the way we look at the 5-year horizon.
So
EV, in my opinion, could even be bigger than that.
So if I say what happens in the market in the short term is a function of price discovery, but for an entrepreneur, for Bharat Forge, अच्छे दिन नहीं बहुत अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं.
Yeah, I think अच्छे दिन ही आने वाले हैं, because see, we have no, either as a company or as promoters, we don't have any stress. Okay, the company is not loaded with debt. We have a lot of opportunity. We have great people. I think our biggest strength, more than anything else, is the phenomenal people we have in every part of our business, right from the shop floor to the engineering to sales and marketing. Everyone, they're very passionate about what we do, and to harness that passion and to get the most out of that passion is really what is the job of management.
Right, that was our managing editor Nikunj Dalmia with Bharat Forge, of course, talking about the company's road ahead. But with that, we're completely out of time on this edition of the show. We have the Gift Nifty holding in the green, so that's a bit of a positive. Of course, have to wait and watch over the next hour or so how that plays out. But it's curtains for now. The market will take the action forward.